In all my talks, I try to reach my audience. The purpose is that if I communicate and if you don't understand, it is a senseless being togetherness. This slide. Yeah, this we already spoke about. The next one. Now this ESC was a big topic globally. Embryonic stem cell, as I told you, was a big question mark of utilizing the clinical research or not because of the killing of an embryo and using for, I told you the story of stem cell with the one stem cell or embryonic stem cell can is a lifelong source. One single embryonic stem cell is a lifelong source. It can generate for another 10 years, hundreds of people can be treated, It has such a power. I call it to be always a God cell. Now, it has got a potential of mesodermal, ectodermal, endodermal tissues to be developed, and this is just a science of expression of certain genes. And the genes make your cell what you cannot imagine to make it. Next. Now, the sources I spoke you along, adult has got, as I told you, source in the bone marrow, adipose tissue, your dental pearl, your fat, which are clinically utilizable. Brain. In fact, if you remember in our college days, even still you practice saying your patient, neurons cannot grow. We are born with a fixed number neuron and we go to brain atrophy and we die away. Like? All is wrong. I have grown neurons in my lab. I grow neurons in my lab. I multiply them. I make NPC cells, neuroprogenitor cells, to treat almost all neural diseases. Not only that part, paraventricular space is full of stem cells in the brain. You happen to see your patients after a spinal cord injury or brain CV accident. Just physiotherapy improves him? Yes or no? You have seen some power coming back to the leg, speech coming back, hearing coming back, vision coming back. Have you seen or not? Who does? Have you asked your question? Stem cells of that organ. They are healing you. They are getting the signals. This is a big signaling pathway between the site of injury and the bone marrow. This with SDF factor 2, which gets the message to the bone marrow, yeah, you are requiring here, come here, come here, come here. The cells go there and start healing process there. Next. Where do the stem cells come from? Where do they stay? What do they do? What is their role? Many questions in the mind. Have we asked ourselves? Anybody knows where do they stay in the body? Anyone else can tell me? Where do the stem cells stay? They stay in the niche of every organ. Each organ has a niche. Bone marrow has a niche, liver has a niche, kidney has a niche, brain has a niche. In the niche, the stem cells exist. They are covered by niche cells, protect the stem cells from getting wrong signals. Suppose in the system, this system in your office, if your boss gets wrong signal, his reactions will change and he will be paranoid, he will become paranoid. The same thing in a niche body, the stem cells are protected by the niche cells surrounding it, which protects the stem cell from taking wrong signals from the remaining organ. It filters the signals, very specifically what signal has to be sent to the stem cell, because once the stem cell gets a signal, it starts its action. It starts symmetrical division and asymmetrical division. Symmetrical division is a division by which they differentiate as the body demands new cells. Because every adult cell has to die. Because we die. We die because the adult cell dies. So we go into aging process. If adult cell doesn't die, we don't die. We don't age them. The signals get to this niche. The niche cell passes a right signal, yes, I should produce a symmetrical division and an adult cell, or misdifferentiate into that particular tissue, or I should create a pool of a stem cell, because if the stem cell exhausts, we cannot live again. We die. It's a very complex, body is very complex. The signal passes on saying, yes, we require a pull. Pull is exhausted. Stem cells are exhausting. The stem cell divides with asymmetrical. One becomes a stem cell, other becomes a adult cell. So this is how each organ maintains its function in the body. This is called a niche. In fact, I had a big talk even on this in the international conference recently in Dubai. This was one of the topic, and second was, can I replace organ transplant by cell transplant? In frequency in time, I'll show one of the few slides of that also. What are the limitations of organ transplant? Why organ transplant is failing? Can we replace organ transplant by cell transplant? These are easier, simpler procedures. Niche is very important because this is a dynamic world. It is constantly working, constantly working. This is the area where I told you initially combination between cells, harmony. I told you homeostasis between cell and extracellular matrix to reach the proper information. This is an area which works as a molecular level for every organ, brain, liver, kidney, muscle, everywhere. In the muscle we have stem cells between the laminar cells, that is myotubules. Myotubules in between we have satellite cells. Why after exercise do you know you get muscles? You get power in the muscles, strength of muscle increase. Why? Have you asked? Ask yourself what happens. It happens each exercise passes a signal to the satellite cell, and the satellite cell differentiates into a myotubule. Got it now? Got it now? And this myotubule becomes a cell which becomes a turgid strong. The exercise is stimulus. That's why we prescribe in my entire therapy, physiotherapy, exercise, yoga practice, meditation becomes a very strong force of healing. So that enhances all the stem cells of your body. Next. So it's not a hype, it's a hope. We are not talking it's a hype, it's not a hype, it's a big hope. Imagine if your doctor says you that you are diagnosed with an untreatable condition and you have to live with it or die with it. And your mind state goes bad. So it's a hope for all those people who have those diseases which you don't have any solutions. So it's no more a fiction story. This is a fact for all of us. Next. Limitations of conventional therapy. I should take you to the right junction now because I'm very going close where we are feeling. I am talking of a health crisis. The subsequent 2 slides will take you to the health crisis. This health crisis is an indication of a limitation of the conventional proven therapy. Proven therapy means the conventional therapy which scientifically has proved this molecule treats this molecule treats this. The scientific theory. Okay? We all know in a current status, for every organ there are many diseases which we cannot treat. Organ wise, if you take liver, cirrhosis, cannot be treated. Ultimately you push patient to the transplant. There are no organ shops where you can go and buy organ and good doctor put this organ in my body. Is it possible? It's not possible. He has to die, right? Got the limitation? Brain, hemorrhage, cerebral palsy, autism, spinal cord injury, rheumatic disease, ankylosing spondylitis, spine becomes a bamboo. What you can do? Nothing can be done. Cancers, nothing can be done. We have a list of diseases. The commonest epidemic of the world, I will take you to a very commonest disease, diabetes. Show me a patient of diabetes who is on insulin, he has not gone on insulin diabetic complication. He has died either because of a renal failure, retinopathy, cardiopathy, peripheral neuropathy. Some of the complications he ends up in spite taking the best of insulins. Because insulin shot doesn't synthesize the insulin in the body, it is synthesized in the factory. And you take a shot, it gives a limited control, again body goes into lack of insulin. We wait for another 6 hours. That between time again become toxic, hyperglycemic. Same thing with the tablets. We don't have synthesizers which sense the release of insulin the way beta cells does in the pancreas. They have a sensors to find out the level of insulin and use it for the glucose. But we don't have those. Patient having diabetes is carrying a burden of time disease. Tell me, a gangrene starts with the foot, limb, thigh, ends up one misery of life. I call them the microscopic cellular workers. They are very intelligent. Basically, I'll just explain you. These workers are super intelligent. They know their job so seriously. If you ask a liver cell to do a function of a brain, can he do? Can he do? No. They are specialized. They are super intelligent, specialized workers in the body, defined doing the work of specialty work. Like we have an IT engineers who are testing the software. He cannot develop the software. Like in our own specialties, a neurosurgeon cannot operate a cardiac surgery. We are all these specialties. Similarly, these cells have got their own specialties. They are working relentless, constantly in the body to maintain your wear and tear, and they're busy in their own world. As you might have heard the video of Stephen Hawking. He spoke of the cosmos world of cosmos, which is communicating between each planet to run the universe. Similarly, the stem cells is our cosmos world in the body, which is maintaining the homeostasis of the body, communicating to each other to maintain the function of each organ and our life. This I call as a health crisis. Whatever you do research, we have been doing billion-dollar research in cancer, in chemotherapy. We are doing so many molecules. Nothing could be done. Nothing could be done. Autoimmune disease, we have so many monoclonal antibodies we bring in for treatment, like ruxolitinib, ilimib, all those monoclonal antibodies we bring. But do they treat? No, they cannot. We are putting billions of dollars, billions of rupees, but nothing can be done. That is why I call it a health crisis. We need to think something different. If we don't think something different, we end up with the science. The most important next, when we talk of something different, we need to understand these are the examples of insulin nitroglycerin which I just spoke about. Insulin, nothing could be done. Need to regenerate islet cells of the pancreas. I have a philosophy to talk to you here is that, can I replace the beta cells in the body, in the pancreas, and create my own factory to deal the diabetes instead of going to the factories which are insulin producing? Yes, it is possible, very much possible. Nitroglycerin, same story, 150 years we have been using for cardiac disease. Patient dies of heart only. He dies of heart only. What do you do? Best in nitroglycerin use it. He dies of heart disease. Have you seen? Not doing. Next. For these treating diseases, we have been spending, as I spoke, $1 billion. No solution to all these diseases. Our annual income, what we are spending on health delivery, has no solution to many of the diseases. Next. Globally, if you see, all these diseases which I spoke you, organ failure, autoimmune disease, cosmetic, kidney replacement, cancer, the rates I have brought the rates for you to show, Indian rates, UK rates, Thailand rates. In spite of that, there is no solution. Next. So innovations are required. This is a very favorite slide of mine. Albert Einstein says we can't solve the problem by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. Whatever you do in our labs, with the same process where we started, you won't get solution. So we need to have parallel thinking. We need to have something else which can help us next. So the limitations, the change in paradigm is coming to increase our life expectancy with the quality. With the conventional medicine, we have increased our life expectancy definitely, but with the aging diseases. So we don't want to age with the aging diseases. We want to age with the glory of life, quality of life. Next. I'll take you back, very back to the primitive life. Again, to make it still more clear to understand what is a stem cell, this is the blastomeres. As I told you very well, if you remember, we have paid a cost of specialization. We have paid a cost of specialization. This is a story of a couch. A fish eating a couch, biting a couch. If God saves, this couch saves from a fish, comes out of his mouth, his limb regrow back, his eyes regrow back, even he starts seeing back again. Don't you find wonderful nature? The power of regeneration? Next. Salamander. You cut the leg. If you see the salamander very sad, unhappy because he has lost the leg. And if you see in 3 weeks' time, this salamander regrows the limb. How it happens, this slide I am showing you just because how it happens, how the nature does this. A small slide will show you how it happens. Can you see the cells growing from the edge of the limb which is cut out? These are the blastomeres. These are the blastomere cells. The same cells what we have in our embryo. The same cells what we have in our embryo. IL-10 is in one in cytokine, and the blastomere cells which has a macrophage 2, macrophage 1 and macrophage 2. Macrophage 2 is a healer cell of the cell component of the macrophages. The limb is regenerated complete. See the happiness. The salamander is flying back again. We even have these powers of regeneration. You go back to our embryo, you take an instant embryo heals without scar. Remember, our embryo heals without scar. You hear a lot of endoscopic surgeries being done in a fetal surgery in the embryo in UK and US. You might have heard fetal surgeries being done to the valves when you go for genetic detection for the test. Okay? Does the child come with the injury back outside? No, it doesn't come. It doesn't come. We have those powers, but at embryonic level. We have lost all those powers because we are specialized. We specialize ourselves with the neo brain, neocortex. Neocortex is the recent development of your brain. We have 3 brains, neo, mid and head. Neocortex is which looks like a crooked way, which is a recent evolution. The moment we developed the neocortex, we lost all the powers of regeneration, and we have only power of repair now. We can repair, we cannot regenerate. The Nobel laureate got the Nobel Prize for the reason that he has shown we can get those powers back by inducing 4 transcription factors, CMAC, KLF4, which I just showed you, and we can reverse our biological waste to embryo. So don't you find fascinating story? We are all living, going towards that creation of life again. We are creating towards the life next. This is a normal story of our healing, that is a repair process. We have this power, we don't have that power. We have lost that power. We have this power. This power is, we get an injury, the fibroblasts come in the picture, you could see the cell death fibromigration debris, then comes to formation of a new ECM deposition. ECM organizes scar formation, fibroblasts make the scar tissue. This is what we have got today. That's the inflammatory reaction we have got. But we have lost the power of regeneration. Now, I always trying to do in my lab is that, can I remove fibroblasts from here and induce stem cells there with IL-10 cytokine and M2 macrophages? I can remove the inflammatory phase here, remove the scar formation, and get the power of regeneration. These are all practically thoughtful processes which maybe in future come down for your application. Next. As I've been telling you, our body is full of stem cells. We have a wonderful bank. Just because of our lifestyle, we remove our stem cells from our body, we kill them very fast, and we become fast aged up. At birth, you are 100% stem cells because the body is regenerating, growing everything. Body has to grow all the organs. Up to your adolescency, your body is growing. Full stem cells are supplied everywhere. At the age of 30, in your body, circulating number of stem cells remain around 30 to 40 million. Your really aging starts at 20 years of age, where adult cell has to die, replaced by a stem cell. Adult cell has to die, replaced by a stem cell. Now, this is a normal physiology what's happening in the body. If you maintain the pool of stem cells in the body in a healthy condition by changing proper lifestyles, you can age very graciously. You can maintain the pool of stem cell of the same ratio of 30 to 40 million up to 60 years, 70 years, 80 years. There is a state in the world which is called as Okinawa. You might have heard, I don't know, Japan has got a state. This is the country which is called as a centenarian city. This city is full of 100 plus years. Full of 100 years, driving the bike, car and everything. If you happen to go home, no, just search in Google Okinawa. You will get the story of centenarians. Do we have centenarian? 50 have that. 40 and later, ho gaya mera sab kuch ho gaya. Am I right or wrong? 60 means done, yeah, my lifetime is done now. People start life at 60 years. People start life at 60 years. Live life graciously to 100 years, 110 years. This story is very important, I'll tell you. We have a formula which is called as your maturity age multiplied by 6 is a formula which defines the average age of that species of life. Average maturity age of that species into 6 you multiply. You will get the age of that species. If you go to animals, dogs, cats, maturity age is 3 to 4 years. They start giving. Maturity age is a pair where you start farming and eggs and worms. Multiply by 6. 16 years to 18 years. What's the average log of dog's life? 16, 17 is the highest stage. 14, 15 multiplied by 6. Now the same formula applies to the human life. In butterflies, you apply to butterfly. Life is few days, 2 days. 3 days, max come max. The moment they give the egg, they fly. Maturity is immediate. Multiply by 6, you get the age of that. Human beings, maturity age is 50. Multiply by 6. What's the average age? Tell me. 120 minimum. You are supposed to live 120 years. Dear, believe me. Your life is 120 years. There's an average life human being is supposed to live. This cycle speaks of that, which I showed you just now. If I maintain my proper meditation, yogic practice, alkaline diet, my stem cells will not die. My adult cells will not die. Your adult cells don't survive in acidic mediums of the body. We eat all acidic. All acidic. Kill our adult cells. Make our cells improper environment. Stem cells don't function. They kill you. All our lifestyle has killed us. So our life from 120, 150 has come down to 70, 60, where we full of life. Very many of the 60 साल जी लिए. You are not live half your life what you are supposed to live. So my question is that stem cells the power of your body. This is strength. This is giving you power to live longer, healthier, gracier. Now mesenchymal stem cell. Recently I was in China. I was talking on a drug molecule. A drug molecule. Here I am going to give a little highlight to understand pill and cell, the story which I told you in the beginning, pill and cell. When we talk of a pill, one single pill can treat only one symptom of a disease, not multiple symptoms. Got it? What do you do in the practice? You give 10 tablets to treat one diabetes. Right? I'll give one MSC cell and treat 10 symptoms of the patient. I'll give one MSC cell and treat 10 symptoms. And all your 10 pills after giving doesn't treat him at all. Doesn't treat him at all. Got it now? What is the difference between a pill and a cell? Now here I call this as a living drug molecule. That was the beginning of my first slide, a living legend, a living drug molecule. I always compare between these two, a living drug molecule and a non-living molecule. A pharma molecule, one disease, 10 pills and no recovery of the patient. One cell, 10 diseases, hundreds of symptoms and recovery of the patient. I am propagating this idea of a living drug molecule during my talks everywhere, reason to make my colleagues to understand the strength of this cell, which you can use as a drug to treat your patients. Next. This is a small story of mesenchymal stem cell. 1960s, there is a story of plastic revolution. You might have heard plastic revolution has started in 1960s, where everything was coming out of plastic. Your purse, your comb, everything was plastic. Chairs, table, what you know, plastic was the only item which was molded and designed to develop any organ or any instrument, any part of the organ or any part of the supportive requirement, the family working requirements, right? That is called as the plastic revolution. The Dustin Hoffman was a movie, he has produced a movie that time. And it became revolutionary. Now it's how many years now? We are 60 years, 70 years? 70 years now, 65 years. I call these are biological plastics. These are the biological plastics. I define these cells, mesenchymal stem cells, to be the biological plastics because I can make my liver, I can make my kidney. You talk of a thing I can make from it. I can define. Use a scaffold, biological scaffolds, like hyaluronic acid you can use, sodium alginate you can use it, anything which is bodily compatible. Use it. Everything changes of the healing process. Next. Elephantiasis I just spoke about. Could you see the leg and could you see the leg? Simple philosophies. Use your own products of the body. Your body has got all the products. And these are done by your own products, nothing from outside. Nothing from outside. Your peripheral blood, your adipose tissue, your bone marrow has got everything to do your wonderful things. Next. Diabetes type 1. Now C-peptidase, you know the factor. What is the C-peptidase? Are you aware of C-peptidase? C-peptidase is a protein which is produced along with insulin by beta cells. But insulin is being used in the metabolism. We cannot use as a recovery cofactor to analyze the patient. So C-peptidase is used that in particular type 1 diabetes, beta cells are destroyed, C-peptidase goes down. After the treatment with mesenchymal stem cells, antibodies were destroyed and C-peptidase came back to normal 3.07 with the normal range, and it was off the insulin. The child is off the insulin now. Next. This is my national patent, Indian patent for the vascular necrosis of human head, where my protocol says patient in a daycare comes in the morning, evening goes back, just under CI control, reaching to the lesion of the head of the femur, transplanting the stem cells along the biological scaffolds, will help to angiogenesis, form the new capillaries, engraftment of the osteogenic potential cells from the bone marrow, and the head starts regeneration. Osteoclastic activity also is done by them. Osteoblastic activity comes back and the head generates. Next. This is my international patent for a vascular necrosis of the bed, where I have done more than 400 patients now. I have a clinical trial going with Ohio State University with this particular avian, which I am producing the series of 15 patients and 5 years results of the patient, showing that patient does not see the benefit of stem cells. No replacement. No replacement. New cartilage, new space, new cerebral fluid. The benefit remains. The cells what we give doesn't only cartilage, it helps to even the capsule tightening, ligaments tightening. They also become strong, they become younger. Next. This is a child probably of muscular dystrophy, Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, where the genetic disease, dystrophin gene is upset or malfunctioning in the myotubule cells, and cell doesn't remain alive and the muscles go into fibrosis. These type of children, they live only a life expectancy of 20 years, not beyond that. The ratio of this disease is very high, 1:3,500, very high. You can imagine the number of children may be suffering from this. And no solution in the world. Nothing can be done. We have designed a very good protocol for this patient. We use the mesenchymal stem cells, allogenic, Martin jelly stem cells, along with some kind of special peptide. Dystrophy is again a peptide, is a gene. It is the largest gene in the body, has got 384 amino acid sequences, ATGC. Can you imagine what I am talking? We are forgetting our power. We are embossed. We are luckily in that science practicing, which is a revolutionary. We are the part and parcel belong to this science, which has changed the dynamics of health industry. Not only the industry, finance industry, education industry, everything is going to change. Next. So this is a tornado. It is going to change the collapsing health system.